Hello, very good morning to you and welcome to Table Talk on Benue Television. We're here to discuss or analyze the project promised by Governor Hyacinth Umem earlier across the 23 local governments in the recent thank you tour embarked upon by His Excellency. There are numerous projects that were promised by His Excellency, and the people of the state are looking forward to having such projects executed. We shall take a look at them and how they will impact the economy and well-being of their state. Projects are meant to ensure that the economy and of course the people are impacted positively. And how will these projects connect the state for the overall good of the people living herein? These will be done justice to by a legal practitioner and of course Benue Television ambassador who is in the house this morning to do justice with us. I'd like to welcome Barrister Timothy Amatimin, who is here and very much ready to dissect this whole discussion. I'd like to welcome you to the studios of Benue Television.
Thank you very much.
Yes. And so my name is Japhet Kwahom. Barrister Amatimin, you know that the governor had just completed his tour around the 23 local government areas of the state, and you know that he made lots of promises, but you know people can never be satisfied with whatever it's done. It is human nature to be insatiable. However, when much is done, there is need to appreciate, and even when much is done, there is also room for criticism. I would want you to give us your overall view of what you have seen, the promises made by His Excellency in the last few days.
Okay, thank you very much. I must say that it was actually very insightful and thoughtful of the governor to deem it necessary, after being overwhelmingly voted by the people of Benue State, to govern them for 4 years, to go back to appreciate the people for having found him worthy to lead them. You know, it reminds me of the story of the 10 lepers in the Bible. You know, where 10 were healed, only one came back to thank Jesus for, you know, healing him. It's very common for us to forget, you know, certain gesture done to us by people, you know, after taking benefits of it. But the governor thought otherwise. It's important. Let me go back to appreciate the electorate, the people who voted for me overwhelmingly. So it's something worth commending the governor for, and it shows that the governor appreciates the people, he values the people whom he is governing. And just recently I got to discover that the governor is not drawing salary at the moment out of sacrifice for the development of the state. You know, it's one of those real actions you see from our leaders. You know, the part of sacrifice, you know, our leaders must be willing to sacrifice. And if one look, going back to the question directly about some of the promises he made to the people, you know, we can see what the governor is doing on ground, which is in sharp contrast with what we used to hear before, experience before, where projects were executed on radio, but when you go to the site, nothing was done. Today, I don't need to be told that the street, my own street, is under construction. And even around me, when you move around, for those of us in Makurdi, when you move around, you see, in fact, you get on discovering more roads that are under construction in Makurdi metropolis. So it is something worth commending, and I see that the governor means business. And it's not business as usual as far as his governance style is concerned. So you can see the list of the roads that the governor intends to do.
Yeah.
Then you appreciate the fact that he feels the pulse of the people. The governor appreciates some of those major priority projects that the people of the state yearn for. And at the end of, if these roads are all constructed, it will be so amazing, the benefits will be so huge for the state. Because one of the interesting aspects of road construction project is that it helps in connecting people. When roads are constructed, it is connectivity. You know, it's easier for one local government to connect another local government, and then it makes it easier for passage of goods and services. And then, interestingly, it helps in checkmating security concerns too. Because in areas that are inaccessible, it's very easy for, you know, criminal elements to take advantage of such places and then cause havoc of great, you know, irreparable, you know, damage to the community.
Yeah.
And before the security get access to these places, it takes a long period of time when the whole damage has been done.
In essence, you're saying that the various road construction project would also, you know, reduce the issues of insecurity.
Greatly, it will help in checkmating insecurity in some of these areas. And I strongly believe that the governor is equally thinking along the line of, you know, deploying technology on some of these roads to checkmate some, you know, robbery actions or issues of, you know, killings across the states, or maybe in some of those local government that are most prone to some of these herdsmen attack, so that it will help us in gathering information, you know, to, you know, forestall some of these, you know, actions that most times happen unabated around us.
Okay.
So the benefits are huge. The benefits are huge. And if you ask me, some of these projects are strategic.
Yeah.
Because if the government is thinking about constructing a road along the Zaki Biam Yam market, it gives you an insight of what the governor is thinking of. Because you recall we have a yam factory around that axis. So if the road to the yam market is constructed, it paves way for easy movement of this commodity to the factory or to other areas. You know, most times you see that some of our rural communities are inaccessible during the rainy season. So, like my local government, where my people are much into orange production, during the rainy season it becomes very difficult for you to even move oranges from the villages to the town. So the construction of these routes will greatly enhance the economy of the state. It will greatly improve the lives of the people, and it will really help in checkmating some of the security concerns we have in our local communities around us. And if you ask me, the people are pleased with the performance of the governor so far. And just like Oliver Twist, the people are always asking for more. They will continue to ask for more.
If you were in the position to also ask for more, what would you ask to be added to? Because you see, one thing, when there is infrastructural deficit in a state, you can't do projects within 1 year and, you know, cover up the deficit that has been there. True. There has been huge deficit here in the state infrastructurally. Now, in as much as the many roads have been awarded, some communities are still complaining that why did the governor skip our own community? We needed a road that links our major market here and all of that. Now, governor is only one with just his cabinet. And, you know, monies will come, but they cannot be there all at once for the rest of the project. What do you have to tell the people who are becoming very impatient with what is happening in terms of project and road construction?
Now, I think the people need to be a bit patient. You know, Rome was not built in a day, and we strongly believe that these road projects are not just the final phase of it, because I am privy to an information to the effect that there are plans to construct 500 roads in Benue, and I know that about 300 of them, the design and all the arrangement has been concluded, and the state government is working in that direction. So it will be an all-round development for the state. So it is not a selective thing. The fact that you are not captured in the first phase of the project does not mean that in the second phase you won't be accommodated by the administration. So it clearly shows that you know, government has a lot of things on the table, you know, to attend to, and government is equally strategically going about it, so that at the end of the day you are not so overwhelmed with many uncompleted projects, because it's one thing to begin a project, it's another thing to complete the project. And by the time the quality of the project being executed, for some of us, it's worth commending, and it's something so amazing. In fact, if you look at the quality of the roads, like my street, only the drainage, you get to know that there is proper work done in this place. So by the time we have quality roads that will stand the test of time, that are durable and long lasting, it will pave way for government to attend to other roads too. But the situation where a road is under construction, and as they are constructing the road is damaging from the starting point, and then following or trailing the pace of development of the same road, it does not give room for other projects to be attended to. But we have, at the moment, we are seeing quality roads, and we are hopeful that it will take a long period of time before we talk about the maintenance of these roads. So government will have more time to attend to other places too, because the truth is that Benue cannot be developed overnight. There are a lot of work to be done. In fact, at the moment, the modern challenges of the 21st century that confront the state are enormous. And on a daily basis, our population is on the increase. So there is every need for government, and then the people too, must be factored in some of these projects. The interests of the people must be considered. So for those who may be losing, their patience because they have not been accommodated, it is very good to state your point. And I recall, we have lawmakers.
Yes.
And during budget, defense and presentation, they equally have input as to them suggesting roads in their constituency that should be captured in the budget and then planned and then constructed by the state. So we believe that their cries will be channeled through their representatives, who will in turn make a case before the governor to see that their own local communities are equally accommodated. So it is a new dawn for the state, and we hope that you asked me of my wish, and I wish to say that the welfare of the worker, the Benue worker, should be taken into consideration.
It's all right. I was thinking you'll be selfish by, not really selfish, but you'll be more, projective for the people of your area. That's the Jechira, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have a lot of wastage. Oranges, the waste, mango fruits. In fact, that's the hub of the production of fruits in this state.
That's true.
I was thinking you could talk about how about the construction of a factory that could mitigate the waste that we have every year. In fact, more than 50% of what is being produced there is wasted.
I strongly believe the governor is thinking along that line. But you see, the truth is that before you cite industries, there are other infrastructure you need to have them on ground. And I believe the government under the leadership of Dr. Hyacinth Umemalia is thinking along that line. Because if you have industry sited in an area where there is no electricity supply, where there are no roads network to make way for either movement and then in and out of the factory, then at the end of the day, the cost of production triples. So I strongly believe the governor is thinking along that line. In fact, my father have an orchard.
Good.
So I appreciate the fact that if you want the best of oranges, when you come to Jechira, you have the best of oranges. That's why initially I had to question the siting of the orange and fruits factory at Wanune. The common knowledge I have about the economics and then siting of industries, we are told that factories are supposed to be sited where there are the raw materials, easily located for accessibility and all that.
Yes.
So when you look around, I think it was a political decision anyway.
Yes.
That of all places in Benue, an orange and fruits factory was sited in Wanune, where you have low or even near thousands of orange production.
But this factory is one of the governor's manifesto. He had said he was going to rehabilitate the factory, the tomato and mango juice. Are you now suggesting that it should be relocated to Jechira? Of course, it's a very good site for it.
Now, the truth is that the location, in fact, If you look at the cost of production, the profitability aspect of it, citing it there, yes, of course, you'll be able to produce, but you need supply from other local government that are producing these oranges. So the cost of moving the raw materials to the factory site will increase.
Yes.
As opposed to if this particular factory was sited in a local government, where these oranges and fruits are produced massively,
Yes.
it will be easier, it will save and reduce the cost of production. But if we are to go with the one at Onunin, what we'll be doing is that we'll be getting or gathering oranges, or except the government have plans of either encouraging farmers within the local government to embark upon massive planting of the needed varieties of oranges and fruits
that's
that will be required. It will take a long period of
It's
time.
going to take a long time.
Do you get the point?
These are perennial,
Now, yes. Now there is this another conversation to the issue of fruits factory that I have listened to from other persons. People over time have been asking questions that in Benue, yes, we have oranges, we have the mangoes and all that, but they have always questioned the varieties of mangoes and oranges we produce in Benue, that they are not really good and fitting for such industrial production.
Yes.
Now it is one area that we need government to step in and then begin to drive our people in the direction of planting those fruits that will be of industrial value, that will be more fitting for such industrial uses. So that at the end of the day, you may have oranges, but is it really of that variety or breed that will serve the purpose of these companies?
Okay.
If it doesn't, then at the end of the day, it can only be used within the local community for consumption. But I've always been asking these questions. Most times we see trucks are accessing our local villages and then moving oranges. Where are they taking them to? So it is time for government to quickly address some of these things. We have a lot of advantages, comparative advantages in Benue that we can leverage on. And that's why the idea of me making a personal proposal to the government, I would suggest we begin an independent power project, so that we'll begin to generate power.
Yes.
That will be sufficient to power some of these companies that are already indicating interest of coming to Benue, and some are already with us, because power production is one factor that is very, very important for industrialization. Any nation that wants to develop must work on its power generation capacity. Failure to do that, you are wasting your time, because the factors of production, once you look at them, and then the cost of production, once you place them side by side, you begin to see why some product may be very expensive when produced locally than when they are produced abroad. Because for countries or companies that are producing abroad, they have steady electricity supply, so it saves companies the alternative source of production or power, as opposed to ours here, where people have to depend on diesel, have to depend on fuel for them to power their machines, and the cost can be so amazing. So when the government embarks upon its independent power project or station, it will equally help government in breaking the monopoly we have at the moment, where just one company is supplying power to the whole state, and then there is no competition.
It's all right. Now let's look at this. Still talking about Wanune. The people of Kiwande have been, and according to the governor, he's going to give them a higher institution that is bigger than a polytechnic. Remember that I always look at conflict and resolution in matters that we discuss. Remember that there was a polytechnic that was proposed when for the people of Kiwande, when former Senator Barnabas Gamade was there at the National Assembly. A polytechnic, in fact, site was cleared and a gate was actually built, and afterwards this polytechnic or another one found its way in Taka, and that of Kiwande was closed down. Now the governor has said he's going to come up with a gigantic, higher institution, and also ensure that the entire roads, township streets in Adigbo are constructed. So the promise was quite huge for the people of Kiwande, amongst other projects. Do you think the people of Kwande need a higher institution at this point in time, or they need something other than that?
In fact, reducing the conversation to only the people of Kwande will be.
No, we're going to talk about other places.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now the conversation, it's just beyond Kwande having a polytechnic or a higher institution.
Yes.
The citing of that, or the thinkers or those who were proposing that a polytechnic be cited in Kwande, were very strategic about the whole project.
Okay.
Now, if you look at the whole of Zone A, and then the presence of federal or state institutions in Zone A, you now understand the conversation. The presence of higher institutions in Zone A, you now understand the concerns expressed by people around Zone A.
Yeah.
Now, apart from College of Education, Katsina Ala, there is no other higher institution owned by the government in Zone A. If there is any, someone should, point it out. Now, you understand the conversation now. The other zones, we have 3 senatorial zones in the state. And if you look at Zone B, amazingly, is one of the gifted and favored when it comes to establishment of higher institutions that are government owned. Now, Zone A is losing out, and that is the philosophy that seems to be the basis, the foundation, the fulcrum of the conversation of those who are arguing for an establishment of either a polytechnic or a higher institution in Zone A, and then preferably in Kwande, that will now begin to balance the Sankara axis and then the Jechira axis for ease of accessibility and proximity.
Okay.
Now, that is the conversation. And who says that Wanune and then Kwande will not have federal polytechnics at the same time? The two can have, and we deserve to have. Right? So the conversation should be that, yes, Wanune has gotten theirs. Now is the time for us to fight for what belongs to Kwande, and then not just Kwande, but the whole of Zone A. So that, the truth is that in our Nigeria of today, Section 14 of the Constitution has provided for all government policies should factor in the generality of the interests of the people, and projects should be executed in such a manner that people will have a sense of belonging of government. Ours is a participatory system of government, so when projects are executed in such a way that a particular section is disconnected from governance, then such persons may be right to cry about marginalization. Right? Now, without any iota of sentiment attached to this conversation, I feel that Zone A has been underdeveloped, educationally wise, in terms of citing of higher institutions. And interestingly, this is one zone that is highly educated in Benue, Zone A. So when you look at it, what is really happening? So the promise of the governor to establish a higher institution in Kwande that will take care of the interests of Zone A is a welcome development. And we'll expect that all Benue citizens should rally around the governor to lobby, if possible, with the federal government, so that if it means establishing, because we have states that have 2 polytechnics, federal polytechnics. There are states that have such polytechnics. So ours will not be a new thing. So we should come together as a family, come together as a state, and then ensure that Zone A has an equitable share in the federal allocation of project, educationally and otherwise, so that our people in Zone A will equally have a sense of belonging. Now, if you see around, and in fact, Zone C have equally gotten their own fair share, because I see one of the projects the governor wants to do is the bypass around the Otukpo roundabout, which arguably has been said to be one of the biggest, roundabouts we have in Nigeria and if not Africa. But most times when you look at the roundabout, you begin to ask yourself what is really happening around this place. So by the time we have a bypass around the roundabout, the Otukpo roundabout, I think it will easily aid movement, down the east. Because I've traveled on that road severally, because
I've also had conversation with some drivers when I was traveling, and they said sometimes they really wish to know the architect or whoever was behind the design of the roundabout,
roundabout.
because you can actually build an entire hotel
I agree.
on the
I
cycle
agree.
around
I
it.
agree.
But anyway, I think the Zone C people got something big from all of this. And underpass is a huge project, you know, and there is more that we need to talk about.
That's true.
Barrister Amachimin, let's tell ourselves the truth. The governor is doing his utmost best. His advisors also need to do what they need to do. In all of what the governor is talking about, we have seen that something like a storage facility has never been mentioned. And I believe the governor is one person that if you mention this kind of a thing to him, he would do something about it. Now, having a storage facility, because part of the problems we're having in this state is waste. What you have, you need to keep it. As you are tilling the soil, it's getting old. So if you have something coming from the soil, you need to preserve it.
It's true.
And I have never heard a pronouncement about establishment of a storage facility that would house the wastes that we usually experience in the state. What do you have to say in that regard?
And of the truth, it is, if there is anything we need, it is one of those things we need.
Yes.
In fact, just recently I watched a video of a Ghanaian factory
Yes.
that is into importation of yam
Yes.
to US and UK. Ghana importing yam, exporting yam. So you can just imagine the impact of that foreign earning on the Ghanaian economy.
Yes.
So if we have the largest yam market in Africa, located in Benue,
Yes.
then I see to it that we need to be well guided. That's why I appreciate the governor talking about extension workers, so that we begin to have these people back, that will begin to help us harness some of our agricultural potentials. Our farmers need to be guided on the right farming techniques and equipment and tools to be used, and then fertilizer application and all these issues, so that at the end of the day, what is produced meets international standard or requirement. You know, you don't just go into production. You go with a plan that, okay, what I'm producing, beyond just my own personal consumption, if I'm to export this is the standard of what I'm supposed to export.
Yeah.
So once our people have this, it will really help us. So by the time we have more of like a silo for storage of agricultural produce, I want to see a situation where even the state government can begin to invest by buying or taking some of these produce that are produced by our people and then store for future use. Because the truth is that we are experiencing food insecurity.
Yes.
In Benue here, we used to talk of getting the cheapest food items you can think of, but we can see there is a shift in the price of farm produce in the state, and that calls for concern if the fight against food insecurity is to be succeeded or achieved. Because if we are producing and then we are losing about 50 or 60% of our production, then something is wrong. So we need to work in the direction of having the needed storage facilities in place, so that whatever that is produced is preserved for future use. We shouldn't just be producing so that you produce and then massively you are losing. And in fact, if you go around some of our communities, people, after harvesting their oranges, have no choice than to use them to more of like manure to apply to the other oranges, because either there are no buyers or either there are no facilities for them to preserve some of these things they have produced.
Yes.
Because of the truth, the whole idea behind having orange, processed, and mangoes and all that processed, is because these are seasonal products.
Yes.
You don't have oranges all around the year.
Yeah.
Right? You don't have mangoes all around the year. There are seasonal, products. So when it is a season, wisdom demands that you harvest them and then preserve and store them for future use, so that at the end of the day, the people benefits from these, very vital produce that we depend on a daily basis, without we losing out, without we wasting them. So I strongly believe that either the advisors around the governor are equally listening to this program, and they will if at all it's not captured in the policy direction, which I believe it is, they will now remind the governor that it's very, very important that we have a standard storage facility in the state, if possible, across the three geopolitical, in the three senatorial districts of the state.
Yes.
So that whatever is harvested in Zone C will be brought to that particular storage facility. Whatever that is harvested in Zone A will be brought to a particular location for storage. Whatever that is harvested in Zone B will be brought to a particular location for storage. So that at the end of the day, we'll have enough to eat all around the year. Now, there is this very interesting conversation that as young people are beginning to have. I see people bringing innovation of, more of like sack farming.
Oh, yes.
Where bags are used. Either, dispose cement bags, or either these other bags that are used for packaging, where people just collect sand and then begin to plant. Now, what that tells you is that you can do that conveniently at home, in your own house. You conserve land, because this room, the size of the studio alone, can contain more than 400 bags.
Yes.
Now, if you are to plant your yam seedling in these bags, you'll be able to control the water supply. You can irrigate, so you can have your yam all around the year if Benue begin to think in this direction. Because when it rains, it is easier for we to lose a large quantity of the water as the water strays or flows to other direction.
Yes.
But when you plant in a confined either container, it is easier for you to restrict the movement of the water, so you can conveniently irrigate your crops within that little container or bag within a very long period of time.
That's all right. I think we need a break very quickly. We'll be right back to continue to talk to us about what's happening here. We're looking at the project promised by His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Benue State, and how they will turn around the fortunes of the state and what more needs to be added to be able to make Benue a robust one. We'll be back shortly. Welcome back to the studios of Benue Television. We're still here talking about His Excellency's promise to the people of Benue State during his thank you tour, and what he has said he will do for the people and the prospects we are anticipating from these numerous projects. Let's come down to talk about where we are residing. That's Makurdi, the capital city, as well as Guma. Now, the governor has promised to return the IDPs to their ancestral home. And then he also has mentioned that he's going to, rehabilitate the J.S. Taka Foundation to meet international standard. But some critics have said, for Makurdi, why not the Greater Makurdi Waterworks revamped? And some other persons have said, why can't we have other things as against this? Let's have you, share your opinion on that.
Now, I think that for those who think in the direction of revamping the waterworks, the Greater Makurdi Waterworks, equally on point. Because of the truth, if you have lived in Makurdi for a whole year, you now appreciate that Makurdi, as the state capital, have a perennial water problem or scarcity issue.
Despite the river around.
Despite we having the river Benue around us. And then it clearly shows that, we have this common saying, this African saying that a man who lives by the riverside shouldn't be complaining of water to bath. But in our own case, it's more like Meru have taken over the town, because there are times of the year that even the wells are dried up, and then people barely have water for use. And then we are at the mercy of those who sell sachet water. We are at the mercy of Merua who supply water. At times you call them, they tell you, okay, I'm not coming, or I have more persons to attend to, and all that. So if the Greater Makurdi Water Works is revamped, I strongly believe that the water challenge of Makurdi will be taken care of. And I strongly believe that it's a project that cannot be ignored. It's a project that needs to be carefully looked into. Because in the past, we had government attempt at revamping the Greater Makurdi Water Works. But I can't really tell what really happened at that place, where most times you see only, water tanker drivers, having a feed day with water supply and all that. It shouldn't be so. So I strongly believe, I believe the government, there was a time when the governor took over office, he visited the water, plant.
Yes.
So I strongly believe he is equally thinking in that direction. And it's a project that needs to be prioritized, because water is very essential. Water is life,
yes,
if you ask me. So if the governor quickly and his administration looks in the direction of revamping the Greater Makurdi Water Works, it will be a step in the right direction. And then not just revamping, but putting in place measures or pipelines that will reticulate the distribution across the new layouts. Because Makurdi is wide developing. In fact, yesterday I was around at P, and I saw massive development around that area.
Yeah.
So it's very important that all these things won't be done overnight, won't be done in one day. But it's important that priority be given to some of these projects, as pressing as they are, in the line of scale of preference, so that quickly the people will begin to feel the impact of good governance. Already the people are enjoying it.
Yes.
The people are enjoying the good governance and the approach the governor is taking, and we can always encourage him and advise that more needs to be done, and there is no time for feasting around or whatever. But Benue deserves the best, and so far so good. The people are happy with what the governor is doing, and they expect more from him, so that Benue will be that prosperous state, that agrarian state that people used to be proud of. People used to come, and then once, in fact, the return of the IDPs to their ancestral home is a very huge project, if you ask me.
Yes.
Because the truth is that there is a lot of work to be done. People have left their homes, their ancestral homes, for a very long period of time. Some are even scared of going back. And then if you look at the level of reproduction taking place at the IDP camps, you now understand that the only solace, the only consolation the people have is for them enjoying themselves, sexually. So you see people reproducing in IDP camps more than those who are outside the camps. So returning them home will equally boost agricultural production.
Yeah, it's okay.
Right? So it's actually a step in the right direction.
Production of babies.
Exactly.
Now let's talk about Gwei East and Gwei West. Yes, Gwei West. One of the projects that the governor mentioned and people started clapping instantly was the revamping of Tarakumis. He said he's going to bring back the company on stream, and then the construction of an Aodanai Bayongu road. It's one road that has suffered, farmers in that area have suffered over the years. And then construction of Obarikeito road, that was abandoned since 1999. And then the renovation of Government Girls College at Lady, and a commissioner will be also given to the people. This was the first time the people of Gwei particularly were without a commissioner, and now the governor has seen to it that it's good that these people to have a commissioner. So what do you have to say about this?
Now I'm privy to know some of the steps that have been taken in revamping the Taraku mills, because it was one project that ought not to have been left to wallow for a very long time. Now, Taraku Mills had its own complex issues.
Yes.
Some were legal, some were political, as the case may be, because there were people who dragged the company to court, the state government, and then some of the former staff of the company have court judgments hanging on the neck of the government. So when the governor came on board, I know as a fact that lawyers were invited, litigants were summoned to a meeting where they discussed on how to resolve these quagmire that have wallowed for or lingered for some time. So there were some agreement that were reached, and the government is committed, and I see that they have commenced payment in settling some of this judgment sum, to those who had matters in court and all that against the company as a whole, because there were some creditors who made suppliers of soybeans to the company and were not paid, and these people went to court, and it was their entitlement for them to be paid. So some of these issues, the government is already addressing them, and I strongly believe that by the time that company, that very important asset, is revamped, it will really help the state, not just the people of Agui. So it's a huge project that needs to be protected, and I commend the governor for taking such steps towards addressing some of these issues. And like the issue of the roads, it seems the governor is so much in love with road construction.
Yes.
But you see a little dive into the renovation of the government girls' college, a lady, and then the issue of appointment of a commissioner. I think that should be quickly done, because appointment, by the time you have a state executive council meeting and then there is no representation,
yes,
from a whole area so important as Gwe, it's unfair.
Okay.
So the governor seeing to it that they are, equitably represented.
Okay.
It's a step in the right direction. I shouldn't linger for long, because it will give the people a sense of belonging. In fact, it will be easier for the governor to have the pulse of the people through the commissioner who is from the area, and the people can equally reach the governor through the commissioner as well. So when issues are discussed, the person too will equally begin to push in the interest of his people as well. So I think it's a step in the right direction, and it shows that the governor is listening. Because I believe the people were agitated, the people were worried when none of their own was made a commissioner.
Yes.
So having listened and then promised to do that, I believe that it's just to make a nomination and send the person to the House of Assembly for screening, and then final appointment if the person scales through the screening process.
It's all right. Now, and before we will leave, there are also some projects the governor promised the people of Jechira particularly. I talked about Vandika or Kofa Tiam conjunction to Te Kunav office, and then talked about Te Agbaragba to Tio Banya Road in Aselagi, and then at Te Kausu to Tumba Shangbong Abena Road in Shimin, linking Anza Street, and then branch Atse to Korea City. I think more. It looks like the Jechira people had too much, because from the list I have seen, more roads were awarded to the people of Jechira.
There is saying that when
so I was beginning to ask, what has the Jechira people done to deserve such number of roads?
Now, there is this common saying that when you start madness, you start in your own house. And I believe the governor is working in that direction. I happens to be, and I'm familiar with the terrain of the road network. And you can agree that, like, the road to the local government headquarters in Te Agbaragba is the worst you can ever think of. In fact, I have done cases around that area, and I know how deplorable the road state is in that area. And I believe the governor is trying to connect, because the road will not only be used because we have the Oju people who equally make use of the road.
Yes.
Right? So you see to it that the roads are strategically connecting the various local governments with one another. It's not just doing it for doing sake, but the governor is trying to connect the various local governments so that it's easier for people to move, for mobility, for people to move from one location to the other. So you can excuse him if he has shown that bias to his own area. I believe if other persons did as well.
I don't want to even see it as bias, because
right.
One of these roads is the one that leads to former governor's house, late Reverend Father Moses Osho, and as well. I think for the governor to have thought of that,
is a way of immortalizing him for what he did for the state.
Yes. So I felt that's the one that interested me the most. I said, okay, so the governor feels and knows that former governor of the state needs a road that will link the people. If he wants to visit the house of the former governor, he is going to have an accessible road. I think that was a very good one. But you see, one thing, like you said from the beginning, the people, the citizens are just like Oliver Twist. As much as the governor has awarded lots of projects, if they ask you and any other person from Jechira, they will still ask for more.
That's true.
Yes. Now, moving forward, I have identified a road and, of course, a project that needs to be done in Jechira. Agbede has a stream. Agbede and the other community, you won't find any good road and you won't find any bridge. I am hoping that, because I have been to the place and I know it's a bit of challenge to farmers. We are saying this is on camera, and we also know that the governor is a listening one. Next road construction, maybe the governor should be considering to see that a road is constructed to cover the people of that area. It's good to have the community connected. Now, finally, do you think these roads that have been constructed or that have been awarded so far are enough to change the face of our economy in the next 4 years?
Substantially, they will alter the face of our economy. Number one, why do I say so? It's because it has potential of creating jobs. It will greatly create jobs. It will equally reduce the cost of transportation.
Okay.
It will greatly reduce the cost of transportation, because the longer you spend on the road, the more fuel consumption takes place.
Yes.
So by the time we have roads that are motorable, that are easily, it will reduce the cost of transportation, and it will equally save even road users or motorists, the cost they incur in maintaining their cars. So you see the effect of that. And then for economic activities, people will easily access some of these roads.
Yes.
To access the product that are produced in some of these locations.
Yes.
For them to equally convey to their various industries or for personal use. So substantially the economy will grow, because it will enhance trade and commerce in those locations.
Yes.
So more people will show interest in such areas, and then the issue of security cannot be overemphasized, because these roads will go a long way in improving the security architecture of the states.
Yes.
So that we can quickly
Definitely. And I know that our time is up, but I can't go without you having to answer this question. No road was awarded for the people of Goma. Already there are roads constructed in Makurdi. Streets have been opened. Now, some other critics and members of the opposition were of the opinion that the governor didn't award any road construction for the people of Goma because it's the constituency of the immediate past governor. I don't know whether you differ on that opinion.
Now,
just briefly, because we do not have time.
I will not want to join issues with those who.
No, it's not issues. We are talking projects. We're talking about other local governments. So you should talk about
now. It's an ongoing process.
Okay.
For the administration, and I strongly believe that the next phase of road construction will equally factor in the people of Goma, because they are part of Benue, and they deserve to enjoy the dividends of democracy the governor is providing to the people of the state. So it is time for them equally to be captured, and I strongly believe in the next phase the governor will do that. Recall that the former governor did some attempt at just that they were not successful, constructing the road from here to Bajimba and all that. So I strongly believe that the governor is looking in the direction where there are pressing needs and where there are lacks to provide for the interim.
Thank you so much, Barrister Hama Timothy. I know when you don't want to go into the details of any question, there is a way you meander around it. You didn't want to give us the full package on that question, but I know how to bring it next time we are on the same program. Let's say goodbye at this point. I must appreciate you so much for your taking time to do the analysis concerning the projects proposed by His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Benue State. We shall look at the merits of the projects when they start construction in full. I must appreciate you for coming.
Thank you very much for that opportunity. And I know the people of our Zone C have equally been taken care of too.
No,
we have the Igede who equally got some projects, roads and all that. Exactly.
Yes.
So.
Gigantic underpass is being constructed. I think it's a huge one. This is where we have to say goodbye. Very many thanks to all of you for your time on the program. Table Talk is going to make a turn back when we come here on Monday. My name is Japhet Kwaho. Goodbye.